Hi, this is Kara with Ernest SB Publishing, and I'm here to talk to you about all things related to my healing journey, my writing, my self-publishing, graphic design that I do, and more. So today I'm actually talking about imposter syndrome. Not so much about what it is, because a lot of people talk about it. It's more my own journey. What I do to help myself, what it feels like to me, some of the reasons why I have it, and whatever else comes to mind, because I partly plan this, but I want to also be a little more free-flowing because that's just how I roll. If I have something to say, I'll say it. If I don't, I'm not going to make it up because then it sounds weird, for one thing. But yeah, so imposter syndrome is something that I've been dealing with my whole life. Not with everything. There are some things that I could do for a long time that I was encouraged to do and felt capable of doing. Singing was one of them. I love singing, and I started singing in public in front of church at the age of 8. Or it could have been, I was 5 when I started singing. 8 when I started singing solos. That was a lot of fun. I don't like the songs that I sang back then anymore because of religious abuse, and that's another reason why I have imposter syndrome at times. Is I was taught that I'm not good as I am. I have to be a perfect version of myself that never makes any mistakes, that follows the rules, even if the rules don't make any sense, even if the rules can hurt me. I turn into a people pleaser because if I was doing what other people think I should do or what I think they think I should do, then I was less likely to get in trouble or have my life threatened, which happened a lot in childhood and after. Also military service. You're taught a lot of skills, but you're also brainwashed in a way. They take out all the parts of you that aren't conducive for the mission in some ways. Push you to your limits, which is great, except for pushing the limits in order to get, a soldier or whatever you want to call it. It's not pushing the limits to something that will enhance humanity, which is something that I'd rather do. I am a warrior, but it's not a warrior in the sense of me against everybody else or the United States against everyone else. It's compassion versus control. That's what I want. I want people to have compassion for themselves and not try to control others. So this is where the imposter syndrome comes in. I haven't done this a lot in my life, except for proselytizing for the, Pentecostal religion. I have a hard time expressing how I feel. I've learned over the years how to do that. It's taken me, since 2014, so 8 years to even get to this point, which is great. I love who I am now. I love what I do. I love the choices that I'm making in my life, and I have a lot more ideas. It's just getting to the point where I feel like I can do them. So these are some of the things that I've done to help myself. The first one was, seeking therapy. I knew I had problems and I didn't know how to solve them. I didn't have the tools that I needed. I was put in the wrong therapies to begin with. Prolonged exposure. It's helped me since then, but at the time when they first introduced it to me, it made me worse because I was processing these traumatic memories, but I didn't have coping skills to handle them. So then once I started learning therapies that helped me handle my emotions, instead of going out and to bars like my therapist encouraged me to do, or doing it less, I did make a lot of mistakes and go out because I was pushed to do it, and it turned out not to be right for me. But I started writing my first novel, and it started out as a journal of sorts. The only character that I had started writing was Kala's. It wasn't until after I wrote a couple of chapters in Kala's viewpoint that I started writing Daniel's and James. Daniel is representative of the love that I thought I had lost. And James is representative of my father, who passed away in 2006. Other than my husband, my now husband, my father was the only person that I remember telling me to think for myself, to learn what's right for me. And he encouraged me in ways that I don't remember, but I have the lessons. The things that I do remember, he loved my writing. He loved the way I expressed myself. He introduced me to his cousin, who's a writer. And when I'm having an imposter syndrome about my writing career, I get back in touch with those dreams that I had as a kid. I wasn't focused on the perfection of it. I wasn't focused on the marketing or the sales of it. I was just excited that I did it. And when I self-published my first novel, after getting feedback on critiquecircle.com, which I recommend to anybody, especially if they're first getting started and they want help as they write their first novel, so that it's clean enough when it comes time for an editor, because that will save a lot of money in the long run. Because the more difficult it is to edit something, the more costly the edits will be. When I self-published it after getting 2 rounds of edits from two different editors, which added up, I self-published my first novel, The Scarring of the Roshanra, and that was that was 2 years ago now. So 2 years ago, I self-published my first novel. Now, I'm rebranding it because I finished my creative writing degree, which wasn't my first degree, but this one is the one that's most beneficial to the writing career. After that, I started, obsessing over finishing my second book, which I'm still working on. I have 82,000 words, but I still have scenes to fill in. But my instincts told me I needed to rebrand, not just edit the first novel, because, I wanted to clean it up, take out exposition that wasn't needed, make it clearer. I added a chapter that's both Daniel's and James's points of view in different scenes to show why Kala has identity shifts. Because one feedback that I got was the first couple of chapters were confusing. By doing those edits, it made it a lot clearer, so I feel less nervous about rebranding. On top of that, my cover designer went a different direction And I was excited to put the skills that I learned in my graphic design courses to make my own book cover. I've finished the second book cover, and I'm working on the rebranding of the first one, or the ebook versions. I still have to do the paperback and the hardback, which I'm excited to, get my book in hardback. It's so exciting. But that will be a little bit down the road. But in doing this process, I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning I have the ability to solve problems. I'm not perfect at the writing. I'm not perfect at the editing. I'm not perfect at the graphic design. But it is so fun to learn. And learning is one of the things that you can do to help with imposter syndrome. If you feel like you can't do something, learn how to do it. There's tips everywhere. The internet is such a useful tool. It can be the downfall of society if it's used improperly. But it's exciting to see how much you can learn, especially once you weed through the stuff that's just like, nah. When I started this video, I felt nervous. Now I have the same symptoms, like the racing heart, the, deep breaths, while I'm excited. So reframing from this is so nerve-wracking to this is an adventure that I can partake, or that I can take and enhance who I am without changing who I am. It's been a process, and I'm proud of where I am now, and I just want to encourage other people to get to this point, or whatever it looks like for you. It might not be self-expression that you're working on. It might be letting other people express themselves. That's something that, after I started realizing I was an introvert, I had to take time to not only assess what I needed, but what other people needed. And setting boundaries has been one of the best ways for me to feel like I'm not a fraud, because a fraud will do anything to pull others in, or to prove that they're not, whatever word you want to say, evil, stupid, powerful, charismatic, which I call charismatic for me. And a way I can do that is to talk with friends and people I care about and who care about me. It's like asking them how I can support them, or, asking them what's the most exciting thing you're doing right now or working on. What kind of help could you need? Things like that. Just learn more about people, learn more about yourself, and that will reduce confusion. Sometimes flashbacks cause imposter syndrome to come back up as well. And when that happens, I take a couple of days to obsess about them. I process them. I create ideas based around them or journal about them. Sometimes it takes me a few days to actually uncover what the flashbacks actually are. I'll have them in dreams. When the dreams are lucid, they're a representation of the flashback. And when that happens, I take extra time to do things that bring me out of the funk. Writing scenes based on, or even stories based on the flashback help. I self-insert like a motherfucker. Since it was my healing journey, Kala is self-inserted. She's not exactly like me, but she's a representation of part of me. The part of me that's scared of magic, but also loves magic. And the only reason she's scared of magic is because of religious abuse. So, writing these characters and embodying that character in the physical realm helped me get to the point where I know I can do things. And reading other people's work that have done the same, or something in the same, realm. Lipstick Covered Magnet is inspired by a healing journey. White Stag and the Goblin King are also inspired by a healing journey. Both have to do with sexual assault, which is something I've dealt with a lot in my life. Way too much. Ideally, nobody would have to go through that. But I did. So, by facing the past in a way that's creative and inspiring helps me realize the strength I had in those moments that I didn't know I had. The resiliency, because I've never given up. Had moments where I felt like giving up. I had time periods where I almost gave up. But I didn't. I rested and came back to it. I'm not special. This isn't something that only I can do. This is something that anybody can do if they have a reason to. And the reason can be something as simple as I'm tired of suffering. It can be as simple as I'm tired of hanging around the wrong people. It can be something as deep as I don't know who I am, but I want to find out. Imposter syndrome's no joke. It's something I'm sure most people in the world have dealt with or will deal with. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, because while the internet has been a blessing as far as gathering research and knowledge, it's really easy to compare yourself to other people who you only see what they choose to show you. In a way, people who are pretending to be perfect are the real imposters. I was like that for a long time. I thought nothing was wrong with me. I thought I had no fear. I thought I could do anything, which, I can, in a way. But I thought I was happy with my life when I was miserable with my life, but happy with my dreams, because I lived in a dream world. I'm still filtering through the memories to see which ones are real and which ones are ones that my brain created to keep me safe. It's really imposter syndrome and fraud feeling inducing to have that issue, but whether you're an imposter or not, don't fool yourself. I think that's all I have to say. My brain feels calm and tingly. It's kind of interesting. It's excited. Feel the blood flowing to my prefrontal cortex, so that means I got the stuff out that will help me move forward in my career, at least for the day. And I hope I'm able to help someone else with this. So, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment on YouTube, share if you like it. And if there's something else you want to say, if there's something else you want to learn from my perspective, because I don't know everything, but I've dealt with a lot of my own opinions in the recent years, just let me know and I'll see what I can do.